Was there a silver smash this week? No, not really. All commodities fell together and silver fell slightly less. You can see that here because we are at a major high or resistance in the silver to commodities ratio. We have 3 touches here. We count this as 1 generally, but you can see that it was a major resistance zone even back in 2011 and 2012. The only time since then that we went above it was during the 2011 high over here. That was when silver hit $50, but we're right around that right now. And we hit it here. We hit it twice a second here during the 2016 top. All commodities that were hit down on the risk on day after Trump's election, that will reverse itself when we go back into normal times. There are $160 billion left in reverse repos. This is the home stretch. You can see here November 7th, $159 billion. There's some math on the next page as to when this finally goes to zero. Here is the math. How it works is reverse repos are replaced by T-bills, by treasury bills, short-term treasury debt. They gradually replace reverse repos. The money goes into the treasury through the T-bill sales and then into bank reserves. So we have here, I highlighted April 23rd, 2024, when reverse repos were at $436 billion. And I have highlighted the net issuance of treasury bills since April 2024, and that is $123 billion of net issuance of treasury bills, short-term debt. So since April 23rd, remember back here, we were on 160 billion, and in April we were at 435 billion. So 435 minus 123 is about $300 billion. So we're at even lower than that now, 160 billion. So I think we need maybe about 100 billion, 150 billion more in total net treasury issuance for November in order to zero this out. And once that happens, bank reserves start to fall, and we will hit the next banking crisis possibly around or slightly before Trump hits office on January 20th. Was there a silver smash this week? No, not really. All commodities fell together and silver fell slightly less. You can see that here because we are at a major high or resistance in the silver to commodities ratio. We have 3 touches here. We count this as 1 generally, but you can see that it was a major resistance zone even back in 2011 and 2012. The only time since then that we went above it was during the 2011 high over here. That was when silver hit $50, but we're right around that right now. And we hit it here. We hit it twice a second here during the 2016 top. And over here, this I'm not counting because it was influenced by the lockdowns, which are entirely artificial. But we're at this major resistance zone right now, and silver to commodities is looking very strong. It's all commodities that were hit down on the risk on day after Trump's election. 10-year yields. What's happening with 10-year yields? They just hit an intermediate trend line. You can see here that they've been having lower highs and lower lows since around October of 2023. This is probably going to break through, and we're going to see higher yields on the 10-year and 30-year, the long-term rates. And this follows the 25 basis point cut made by the Fed yesterday. So that is going to normalize the yield curve. I'll show you how exactly what we're going through now is what happened in the 19th century. And it was centered around opium and silver and drug dealing by a big monopolistic elite. Exactly like we have big pharma now. And where is silver going to play a role in it this time? I believe it will be the collapse of the dollar when silver returns as money, hopefully soon after RFK is able to straighten out the whole pharma industrial corruption complex. And speaking of fighting religion and fighting God, we have this document from the CDC from July 2020 detailing how they would have set up medical concentration camps. I'll read 1 paragraph from this monstrosity, and then we'll go into how silver is related to this and where RFK fits in. Here we go. July 26, 2020, interim operational considerations for implementing the shielding approach to prevent infections in humanitarian settings. What is the shielding approach? There are no names of authors on this paper. They want to remain anonymous because what they are suggesting is basically stripping human rights from everybody. The shielding approach aims to reduce the number of severe cases by limiting contact between individuals at higher risk of developing severe disease and the general population, which is low risk. High risk individuals would be temporarily relocated to safe or green zones established at the household, neighborhood, camp/sector or community level, depending on the context and setting. They would have minimal contact with family members and other low-risk residents. This is the paragraph that really shook me to the core. Social, cultural, religious practices. Consideration, plan for potential disruption of social networks. Explanation. Community celebrations like religious holidays, bereavement, funerals, and other rites of passage are cornerstones of many societies. Proactive planning ahead of time, including strong community engagement and risk communication, is needed to better understand the issues and concerns of restricting individuals from participating in communal practices because they are being shielded, meaning interned in a camp. Failure to do so could lead to both interpersonal and communal violence. No shit. Why is this in the Silver Report? Well, consider this from the 19th century and think about how it reflects and interlocks with what is going on in the world today with the pharma industrial complex. I have the source in the description below if you want to check it out. Drug wars, RFK, FDA, and silver. Consider what is going on today and how the pharma industrial complex is terrified of RFK Jr. being part of the Trump administration. Listen to this. For many years, Great Britain worked within the system to run a three-country trade operation. It shipped Indian cotton and British silver to China and Chinese tea and other Chinese goods to Britain. In the 18th and 19th centuries, the balance of trade was heavily in China's favor. Sound familiar? One major reason was that British consumers had developed a strong liking for Chinese tea, as well as other goods like porcelain and silk. But Chinese consumers had no similar preference for any goods produced in Britain. Because of this trade imbalance, Britain increasingly had to use silver to pay for its expanding purchases of Chinese goods. In the late 1700s, Britain tried to alter this balance by replacing cotton with opium, meaning with hard drugs, also grown in India. In economic terms, this was a success for Britain. By the 1820s, the balance of trade was reversed in Britain's favor, and it was the Chinese who now had to pay with silver. This eventually erupted into the First and Second Opium Wars, where Britain fought China for the ability to import drugs into China, causing much of the Chinese population to become drug addicts, which is exactly the business model that Big Pharma has for the United States.
Rafi said that this week there was no significant silver smash, as silver, along with other commodities, saw slight declines. Silver performed slightly better than other commodities, indicating resilience at a significant resistance level. Historically, this level has marked peaks, notably in 2011 when silver hit $50 and during 2016's highs. Rafi Farber points out that reverse repos are decreasing and estimates they might hit zero soon, potentially leading to a banking crisis by January 2024. This aligns with the Federal Reserve's recent actions, including a 25 basis point rate cut aimed at normalizing the yield curve. Historically, silver has surged during economic downturns and inflationary periods. Farber draws parallels between the 19th century opium trade's monopolistic practices and today's pharmaceutical industry, hinting at silver's potential resurgence as a monetary asset if the dollar weakens. Silver remains an attractive investment due to its value retention during financial crises and increased demand from green energy sectors. Watch these videos for more information and subscribe to our channel. Also press the bell notification icon for the best silver and gold price content. Thank you.